Hi, and welcome to Debunk File. My name is Sep, and today we are going on a 4chan dive. So while looking for ideas for videos, I always try to find something interesting in the depths of 4chan, mostly on the paranormal board. Sometimes, if you get lucky, on the random board, you might find a gem. But what happens when you find a great topic, but there's not too much to cover on? You can only talk about a small mystery for so long. That's why we decided to compile the most unusual and strange mysteries, or even just anything intriguing enough. One last thing before we start. The plan for the future is definitely to continue this as a series. If you enjoy it, please make sure to leave a like and comment your thoughts on our new endeavor. Enough chat, on with the dive. The first one I found on the X board. It honestly for some reason freaked me out. Just take a listen. Was watching Scooby-Doo the other night with some buddies crunked out on some illicit compounds. One of them started freaking out about 3 hours in because he remembered something he called Bald Fred. Says he used to have nightmares about it, and that there was a YouTube channel dedicated to Bald Fred in the early 2000s. Just videos of Bald Fred with domestic abuse and screaming audio. Anyone else remember this? Or hear about this? I think he's just lost it. Pick related, it's Bald Fred. Maybe I'm losing my microchips, but I found it extremely unsettling. I looked for it everywhere and couldn't find it at all. The only lead I possibly have is the Venture Bros mystery van video on YouTube that shows Fred as being abusive, which might bring back to the abuse screams the guy claimed to remember.
Was on the way, Patty.
We've been driving to my parents' house for 10 years. You promised.
Patty, being out of your box isn't a right. It's a privilege. Baby, you don't want to go back in your box, do you?
No.
It could be fake in a couple of ways. It could be made up entirely, or the guy's friend could be completely buzzed out of his mind and just remembered something that never existed. I remember the night I found this. It was around 2 AM and I asked the Discord if they had any leads at all. You can thank Bald Fred for the start of this series, since I truly wanted to talk about it extremely badly. Bald Fred is one that definitely weirded me out. If you have any hunches or anything of the sort, make sure to let us know. Bald Fred cannot go unnoticed. This one is quite the doozy, so buckle up. This one was definitely the closest to becoming a full video, and it's huge on 4chan. The NPC Theory. As the theory goes, the basic people whom follow trends and like all things popular, the ones that spew the same wonderful weather out today and have you seen the sports game? And I know you all are thinking of one person in particular, a real boring Joe. Well, it just so happens the original poster, brace yourself for this one, thinks they are just walking flesh piles without a brain or a non-playable character in our world, like those lifeless characters in plenty of open world games. The blank stare, the same routine, the same dialogue over and over. It was posted in 2018 and has gained so much traction that nearly every visit to X, I get a whole thread about NPCs. It's got its own subboard within X and it gains popularity by the day. It's a super interesting theory and many horrible and dehumanizing things lie beneath it. Critics on the theory find it stems from prejudices. If you hate a person, it's completely justified because they aren't a real person, they're just an NPC. There isn't much to debunk about this. It's pretty much just a theory and most likely not true. And if you frequent 4chan, you know there's of course some of the strangest and most disturbed people on the internet you'll ever see. I definitely included this one because it's one of the most interesting theories I've ever read. It's just so in-depth and thought out. Are they really your best friend? Or are they just a lifeless NPC? The next one is more of just a fun story than a complete mystery. 16 years old in the late 90s, home alone one night and my family is out at a restaurant. I was grounded for calling my little brother after he kicked me in the little brother got off scot-free. I didn't and still don't do drugs, pretty decent kid for the most part. I'm laying in bed staring at the weird popcorn looking on the ceiling at night until I hear the trash cans rattle. We lived in a rural area, so raccoons and opossums were common. I grab my pellet rifle and walk back to the door and stop when I hear chattering. It sounded like chirping and clicking. I really don't know how to describe it at all. I quietly open the door and walk out to where the trash cans were. I see little greenish gray skinned things. They had pointy elf ears and were no taller than a medium-sized dog. They had large, completely black eyes and slits for mouths. They were really skinny, so skinny to the point that I could see their bones and rib cages. Sorry for the drawing, I'm really not that great at drawing. One's rummaging through the trash can while 3 others are tearing up trash bags and messing with the garbage. I shoot one and the pellet goes into its back. It didn't bleed, but it turned around, then made a loud shrieking noise. They all turned around and started shrieking. The little gremlins start throwing garbage at me and I bolt back inside and lock the door. I stay in my room until my parents get home. While waiting, those things threw rocks at my window. They weren't strong enough to break it, but they did crack it. I've never seen them again and hope I never do. I know this wasn't really scary, but I wanted to get this off my chest. It's most likely fake, but I really wanted to include this one because the art honestly looks a lot like our buddy Freddy Freaker, and I thought it was just really intriguing. I'm curious if this is just a story, or if it was possibly crawlers, the gray skin and the noises. Maybe this takes the crawler mystery farther, and there's variants or mutations on them. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, or is it something a lot more sinister? And be careful checking your dumpsters late at night. This one we're going deep into 4chan for. It's quite the ancient mystery. The mystery of the Camerahead's creepypasta. A lot of 4chan veterans of course will recognize this one. The Camerahead creepypasta is a thread that showed up on 4chan in 2008. It was about how the OP knew there were humans with hidden cameras in their eyes just waiting for the right time to strike. But this mystery isn't if they're real or fake, oh no. The original post is completely shrouded in mystery because it doesn't exist anymore. It's completely lost. Many have tried to check the Wayback Machine, but to no avail. They've checked 4chan archives and even asked people for the original thread, just hoping they'd have what they wanted. Every now and again on visits to the X board, you'll get someone speaking out that the post never existed, or that they remember it existing, but it's been so mistranslated since the original source material isn't available. Whatever anybody says is completely true and completely fake. We don't know who to trust or who to turn to. As of now, it is completely nowhere to be found, and the search continues for the Camerahead's post to this day. As stated earlier, the plan for these 4chan deep dives is to make it a series alongside debunk videos and the extremely rare top 5s we've done. If this video does well and people want more, it will definitely continue. It's a perfect way to shine light on creepy stories and smaller mysteries that are still intriguing on their own. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to follow all of our social medias for updates and exclusive content, all linked in the description. Especially consider becoming a patron, as even $1 a month really helps and you guys get some slick rewards. And of course, make sure to like this video, share this with your friends, and subscribe. As always, my name is Seb from Debunk File. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.